think what we have here is a lot of people that are wearing their cool pictures as armor to protect their soft, squishy, sensitive interiors from being perceived as weak or not enough. That would make a lot of sense, right? Wouldn't it explain a lot about the tattoo industry as a whole if really we just had a lot of people that just really cared way too much about what other people thought of them? And that's why they are so afraid to promote themselves, right? Back to the question, as I go off on these rants. So I'm going to do a little something different with this episode. I had an idea to answer questions that my younger self, my early tatter-tot self, would ask my older self now. And I feel like this is an episode that'll probably be really helpful for earlier stage tatter-tots early on in their career. But honestly, I think it'd be helpful for any tattooers at any stage of their career. I obviously don't tattoo professionally currently, so you may be like, why the hell would I listen to what this guy has to say? But I had a very successful 13-year full-time career as a tattooer. I work with tattooers all day long, 6-7 days a week at this point, all over the world. I obviously answer questions in our programs around marketing and finance, but we end up talking about a lot of different stuff. Sometimes I'm going to tell you something that I don't tell people until we start working together for a little bit. Sometimes I feel like we sell business education, but we trick you into getting life coaching. But the truth is that our business and our life will always mirror each other. And I am a firm believer that doing the internal work, the principles that I use to lead the courses and to live my life by, they're all the same. And so I feel like this will be helpful for people. If you want to listen to it, great. If you don't want it, then this just isn't for you. But I thought that there would be at least one tattoo artist out there, maybe early on in their career, maybe having a lot of doubts or uncertainty. And these are questions that I would be afraid to ask another tattoo artist. And so that was kind of my idea, was now that I'm not currently professionally tattooing anymore, maybe I can speak a little bit more openly, a little more candidly about things that are on or were on my mind as a tattoo artist that maybe I wouldn't be able to if I was still working professionally and worried about what other tattooers at my shop might think about me. So this is an episode to speak openly and honestly in a way that I don't think you're ever going to hear any other tattoo artist speak to you. So I came up with these 9 questions that I'm going to answer today. Again, I'm going to be asking them as my 20-year-old earlier. I really started tattooing when I was 21, so 20-year-old, but I'm going to be asking them as that version of myself and answering them as this version of myself, starting with, will I ever feel successful? I think that is probably a question on a lot of tattooers, even older tattooers' minds. How do I find my own style? I had my own journey into finding a style, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't think people are going to tell you that was incredibly helpful for me in finding the kind of trippy, weird, organic, fine line, illustrative style. I really wanted a style that when you saw it, you're like, ooh, that's a Ryan Roy tattoo. And it took me a lot longer than I thought it would take to get there, but I'll share kind of how that went and what I would tell myself, again, as already having accomplished that. Why do I feel so behind compared to everyone else? That was something I felt a lot early on in my career. Maybe you do too. What do I do with all this anxiety when it comes to sitting down and drawing or tattooing? Sometimes I felt it, sometimes I didn't. I would feel more anxiety around drawing than I did around tattooing. I don't know. Tattooing actually felt very little anxiety around sometimes, but I feel like there's people out there that can relate. How do I get people to notice my work? We will jump into that. What I wished I had known, I started tattooing. It would have been 16 years ago. I was 21. I'm 39. I'm bad at math. That's not, I know you're like, why is the money guy bad at math? No, that's what I have calculators for. But yeah, I started tattooing when I was 21. And I'm 39 now, so what is that? 18 years? Crazy, something? Anyway, is it normal to feel like quitting sometimes? We'll talk a little bit about that. Why do I hate promoting myself so much? I think that is a big one. Will I ever feel financially secure? I will answer that question. And honestly, the stuff that no one's doing, and that's why no one feels financially secure, and what to focus on. And the last one is, what should I really be focused on? And so maybe there'll be a few things there, but that's the episode for today. Again, I hope that you find this helpful. So let's just jump right in, starting with, will I ever feel successful? No, and you shouldn't feel successful. There will be fleeting moments of it, but so let's define success. Like, what is success? My favorite definition of success is moving from failure to failure with velocity, with speed. And so the crazy thing about success is that if you're doing it right, you feel like a failure because you're moving from failure to failure rapidly with as little time in between failures as possible. And so it's this paradox. And honestly, I've found the most beautiful aspects of life and the most valuable lessons I've learned, they're wrapped in a paradox that will not make logical sense. Like, I want to feel successful, but in order to feel successful, I have to fail over and over again, repeatedly in rapid succession. That's the truth. And so I used to give myself a mantra that was, if I'm not free to fail, then I'm not free to succeed. If I'm not free to fail, then I'm not free to succeed. And so I had to give myself permission to fail in order to succeed. And that was a very difficult thing. I had a very difficult relationship, very adverse. I didn't want to fail. I wanted to be good at things all the time. And you can't be good at tattooing all the time. And here's something that people will not tell you, and I've actually had tattooers chew me out for saying this, is you're not gonna do your best tattoos every fucking day, every fucking year for a decade plus. You're just not. And we often judge ourselves, like our self-worth, by like the last tattoo that we did. Anyone else feel that way? I'd say for the first 8 years or so, I would zoom in on my phone and find every flaw, like a neon sign, like, look, you're a failure, you suck. And it took me about 8 years to stop doing that. And when I stopped doing that, you feel like if you stop being hypercritical of yourself, then you will somehow get worse. Again, paradox is not true. Letting go of the actually allowing, there's a Japanese concept, wabi-sabi. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's like the beauty of imperfection. When I just was like, you know what? I'm going to win some, I'm going to lose some. You know, it's hard because people are paying you and they're trusting you. And, you know, as long as the client is happy, that is the most important thing. And you wonder, you're like, are they really happy? Like, it's just like, you're not responsible for what they think. You're only responsible for doing the best job you can do in that day and for continuing to be better with every day that you do it. And you're going to win some, and you're going to have weeks and even months where you feel like you're totally off. No one fucking talks about this. And like, no, you should always do the best tattoo. And if you feel you should, no, like the reality is you're a human being. You're a flawed human being, right? You want perfect best tattoos all the fucking time. Go fucking tattoo. Go be a robot. But you're an artist and you're a human. And the hardest part about tattooing is that you kind of have to pump out bangers all fucking day, every fucking day. And it's just not a real expectation that you should be putting on yourself. And when you let go of that harsh inner critic, I feel like that's when my tattoos got this life to them that they didn't have before. When there was this looseness with I'm such a perfectionist. I'm a Virgo, and very big part of my identity. I really felt like I was doing the tattoos I was meant to do, that I always wanted to do, after that point when I let go of that inner critic. And so if you could tell anything to yourself now or at any point in your career, and what I wish I could have told myself then is, hey, all that inner critic stuff, just let it go. Just let it go. focus on doing the next job, and know that you will experience days, weeks, and months where you feel like something's off. You're not doing the best work that you possibly can. And that's a normal part of becoming the best tattoo artist that you can possibly be. All right, number 2, how do I find my own style? This is a big one for a lot of early stage tattooers and even like later tattooers I talk to who they're learning to market themselves, and they're realizing they've kind of built a portfolio and a career based on the fact that they could tattoo anything. And that worked a while ago, but it's working less and less because in a saturated market with so many tattoo artists, being pretty good at everything means that you don't stand out at anything. And so if you want to stand out in a saturated market, ideally you get really good at like 1 or 2 specific styles. So this is how my journey went. I was looking the other day at my first Instagram posts. I actually made a post on Instagram sharing my first Instagram post in 2013, I think it was. And probably in 2012, so I started tattooing, I think it was 2010 when I started tattooing, 2009. And so in 2012, I started doing kind of like fine line tattoos. And at that time, people were not doing line work heavy tattoos and trying to do fine line stuff. I remember getting criticism from other So one is, if other tattoo artists are criticizing the style that you're doing, you can almost guarantee that you're on the right path. It might not be the end of the path. It probably isn't. But if other people are like judging, like when painterly style, watercolor style tattooing first came out, and even still, like so many tattooers hate on it. But the truth is there's so many tattooers that do such an incredible job at that style, and it lasts and it looks great. So you can almost guarantee if you're experimenting with a style and other tattooers are judging it harshly or hating on it, that's actually a sign that you're on to something original, and you should keep exploring that. You should keep poking and prodding to see what you can discover, because creativity is not a process of figuring out what the tattoo should be or should look like. Creativity is a process of discovering what the tattoo wants to look like. And any tattoo artist that is worth their salt, that is a real tattoo artist, is going to be able to relate to the experience where you're in the middle of a tattoo. And it's almost like in your mind, you think you're going to shade right off at this line, but then your hand does something completely different. And it's literally like watching your hands do a tattoo. That's the moment where you're not figuring out how to do the tattoo. The tattoo is telling your body, you're literally like symbiotic with this design. It's being channeled through you from somewhere else, from God knows only where. And I constantly felt like that. My best work, I was like, I don't even feel responsible for this. It was literally like the tattoo told me what it wanted to be, and then I watched my hands and they just started doing stuff, and you get in that flow. It's one of the most fabulous, amazing feelings and places to be, is when you know that you're not the one doing the tattoo. The tattoo is being discovered, and it's exciting. I would do the line drawing, and my clients would say, well, what's it going to look like when it's all shaded? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I'm going to find out. And now there are tattooers that are amazing that will tell you, hey, you need to do a full rendering before you do the tattoo. And you know what? They're not wrong, but they're not 100% right either. And I probably could have benefited. And if I could go back and tell myself, I'd say, hey, you know what? Maybe you should do a few more full, what's the word I'm looking for? Not color rendering, study, the word, I'm failing. I went to art school, but whatever. Looking at the tones, the shadows, the structure of it, do a full study beforehand. I would have grown faster as a tattoo artist if I had done more of that, but I didn't. And what I did do, and I did do drawings, and I learned a lot from that, but I followed what excited me, and what really excited me was that discovery process. Now, how did I really find the style? It wasn't just through tattooing more and drawing more. In fact, it was not through tattooing and drawing more. I read a book, and this book changed my whole fucking life. It changed all of my art from that point on. And it's a book that a lot of people are familiar with. In fact, it's a book that you probably have on your shelf somewhere. Do I have it? Can you see that? I don't know if you see it. The Artist's Way. And this is a book that a lot of artists will buy and they will put on their shelf and they will never fucking read it or do it. I have read and done the book's written to be done over 12 weeks. I have done the 12 weeks every single day of exercise. I've done it 3.5 times. I don't know. And what really helped me was I did it with a group of people. So if you have other tattoo artists or just other artist friends, I didn't do it with other tattooers because most tattooers are assholes. No, I did it with just a group of other actors and singers and musicians that I was friends with, that we'd all decided to meet every week to help hold each other accountable. Accountability, oh my God, it goes such a far way. And we went through and we shared our experience. That book forced me outside of my comfort zone. The whole theory around it is that creativity really comes from your inner child, that playful place. I think of my daughter, I can hear her footsteps. I don't know if you can hear her. She's like running around upstairs. Like my daughter doesn't need to figure out how to stir her imagination. No, she can come up with 15 different games and rules to games. We'll play board games and she'll just make up her own fucking rules and she'll be like, no, you didn't realize that this is the rule and now I'm winning. Haha, bye. That inner creative, that just charming, almost nymph, like trickster, playful, whatever that is for you, that's where creativity comes from. And so if you don't give that part of your identity room to express itself outside of tattooing, because if tattooing is your profession, so much of your livelihood and your money and all these things that are emotionally charged are also weighing down on that creativity. So one of the things the book had me do was it had me journal every single day. It called it Morning Pages. And the goal is that you just write for 20 to 30 minutes, whatever comes out. And literally I would have journals with pages that just say, I don't know what the fuck to write right now. I'm fucking tired. I'm exhausted. This is fucking stupid. And I don't know what to say. And I would just keep writing because eventually around 10 to 15 minutes into the exercise, it, again, just like the tattooing, if something else would flow through me. It was as if another version of myself or another being, I don't know what it was, but something else was being channeled through me. And that practice in writing helped me channel that creativity in my tattooing. It also invites you to take yourself out on an artist date. That's what they call it. Take your inner artist out on an artist date. And the rules to an artist date are, one, you can't do it with other people. So there's going to be a lot of things that you might want to do with someone else, but one of the rules is do it by yourself. And the other rule is it has to be something that you think is fun, because creativity really comes from having fun. Like that's what it is. Like even if your art is like dark and spooky and evil, but you're ultimately having fun at some level. Some part of you is enjoying and being playful with the process. And so at 23, I think is when I started doing it. I started taking drum lessons. I took drum lessons every single week for 3 years because of that book. I took archery lessons. I started exploring it. Now, it doesn't have to be things that cost money. If you're like, ooh, I don't have money for that. What did I do that didn't cost money? I mean, simple things like watching a whole series on TV. Like I'm not a binge watcher. I don't really watch a lot of things, but it was like, watch a whole series or listen to a whole album all the way through. You know, so many of the best albums and fucking Led Zeppelin, and they're so important to listen all the way through. Ozzy Osbourne. When's the last time you let yourself listen and just lay there and listen to a whole album from start to finish without skipping tracks, without putting it on a radio station playlist that gets something similar to this, and just let yourself be with the whole album? Going for a simple walk or running, climbing a tree, doing somersaults, like literally just be silly and playful. It doesn't have to cost money, but I started exploring other parts of my creativity, and it was through having fun that I filled my creative bucket, because tattooing can drain your creative bucket if you're just focused on what can I draw that people are actually going to like and want to buy. That kills your creativity. And so in order to refill the creative bucket, you have to do things. That was what was so great about drumming, is I wasn't a perfectionist about it in the way that I was with tattooing. I would mess things up and mess things up and mess things up over and over again. And I would be hard on myself sometimes. But ultimately, I learned to just let myself make mistakes and not be so hard on myself. And that ingredient that unblocks the creative plug to allow your authentic style of tattooing come through. Again, total paradox, right? Drawing and tattooing more won't help you find your style. And now for some people it will, and there'll be comments and people. But I'm telling you, the best way to find your own style is to allow yourself to be playful and creative in other mediums outside of tattooing, and then that will be channeled through into your tattoos. So apparently 88% of listeners have not left a review or subscribed. And I'm going to get right back to the podcast in just a second. But if you have found this episode helpful and you think that other people would benefit from listening, then all I ask in return is please just leave a quick review and subscribe. It'll take just 1 minute and it might help other tattooers and other artists find this podcast and help them out. So please, it would mean the world to me and it might actually make a difference for someone else. Thanks. All right, why do I feel so behind compared to everyone else? I spent years of my career doing that compare and despair thing, and I had really good friends of mine that, my good friend Buck, they go by Buck now. I knew them as something else back in the day, but Buck is a phenomenal tattoo artist, and I would compare myself to them very often because we both did like an illustrative blackwork style of tattooing. Let me see if I can find Buck's Instagram to share with you all. Club.Hauer, Hauer. If you want to check out Buck's work, go check out Club.Hauer. I was like, oh my God, they got a job at one of the most prestigious, I'd say, or respected tattoo shops in Brooklyn, way back in the day. I'd say at the peak of that shop, I think it's still around, East River Tattoo. Oh man, it was such a cool shop. And everyone that worked there was so talented and amazing. And me and Buck worked at a few shops together before that. And I was like, man, their career is just skyrocketing. They're just shooting off. They hit that algorithm early back in the day when you didn't have to post any content, or you just post tattoos. And so I really was blocked by comparing myself to their career. And it's not that you're behind. That's what I wish I could go back and tell myself. You are not behind. Everything happening in your career right now, everything happening in your art and in your life is preparing you for the exact moment of fulfillment and joy and self-expression in exactly the way that it's supposed to show up. I mean, sometimes I love what I'm doing now, and I love it as much as I ever loved tattooing, if not more. That's how I feel about getting to work with hundreds and well over 2,000 tattooers over the past couple of years around the world and seeing them thrive in their careers. It fills my cup. It fills my soul. If I had gotten very successful at the same time that Buck was successful in their career, I would have fucking killed myself. I was a fucking drug addict, maniac, alcoholic. I was terrible with my money. I was wildly irresponsible. And I would have fucking killed myself. That's what I would have fucking done. Thank God I didn't hit some wave of success. And you could say their work was better. Easy to argue that, all these things. But I wish I could go back and tell myself to trust this greater, divine, paradoxical plan that you have no idea exists, and you'll never know what it is. And you just have to trust it because, one, I would have killed myself. Two, let's say I had a very successful career. I'm not downplaying it, but did I hit peaks of fame and fortune and magazines that I had in my sights at one point? No, I didn't. And maybe I wouldn't have left tattooing. Maybe my ego, my identity would have been so tightly wrapped around, and that's actually a whole other topic. My identity was so tightly wrapped around it, but I don't know that I would have been able to let go of it. And letting go of tattooing, I'll just say this, I hope no one ever has to do this or finds themselves in a position where they feel like they have to let go of and there's a lot of people quitting tattooing right now. So maybe you're listening to this and you are thinking about quitting, or you have quit, and maybe that is okay. I'm not going to judge and say that that's not the right path for you. But when I decided I'm not going to take more appointments, I'm going to just focus on working with tattooers around their finances and then later with their marketing, letting go of that identity was so hard for me. And it was one of the most liberating things because I had been viewing my life and my self-worth inside of a bubble of how good are my tattoos. And at the end of the day, nothing mattered other than how far out am I booked and how good are my tattoos. How far out am I booked? How good are my tattoos? And when I let go of that, I found a peace, an inner peace in myself with my own value that I am the value, not because I can point to a portfolio or a bank account or anything like that. No, you are the value. And then life will throw everything at you to try to convince you that you're not. And it was an unlearning process. Leaving tattooing was a deeply spiritual and honestly totally gut-wrenching experience for me. It was the hardest fucking thing I had to do besides quitting drinking, right? And again, my whole identity was wrapped up. But the truth is, I'm going to say some shit and people will disagree with me, but you are not a tattoo artist. You are an infinite being of light. You are a part of the web of consciousness and reality that exists out there that forgot that that's what it is. And so it shrunk its perspective down into this tiny little pinhole, and it's looking out at the world through, I'm a tattoo artist. It's not the truth. You do tattoos, you make a living doing it, it's your job, it's your career, but if I took away your ability to do tattoos, would you not be you? And sometimes we get so pigeonholed. And so in that moment when I was comparing myself to that, while tattooing was, and I think for every tattoo artist, if that's what you want to do professionally, it should be the most fucking important thing in your life, but it should not be the most, and this is a quote from David Brule, tattooing should not be the most interesting thing about you. And if tattooing is the only interesting thing about you or the most interesting thing about you, maybe you have some more self-discovery to go. And from that perspective, I realized there's no reason, there's no value, there's no cheese down the tunnel of comparing myself to anyone else because I'm on my own unique journey. I have my own unique gifts to offer. And who am I to determine what those should be and how that should look, and letting go of that. Oh my God, it was like taking a giant fucking dump. It was just like, oh God, I feel 1,000,000 pounds lighter and freer when I didn't have my identity and my self-worth and value so tightly wrapped up around being a tattoo artist. Whether you continue to tattoo or not doesn't matter. I think it is very healthy, and that's the only way to truly get out of the compare and despair trap. What do I do with all this anxiety when I sit down to draw or tattoo? So again, I said it before, it was weird. It was like I'd sit down to tattoo and something about the importance, the urgency, I don't really know. It was like, this is fucking permanent. It was like, it would clear my brain. And I don't probably have undiagnosed ADHD. And honestly, I don't give a fuck about any of these labels. I've been diagnosed with every fucking thing in the DSM-4 or 5 or whatever you want to fucking call it. All these labels do, and again, people will disagree with me, but I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, schizoaffective disorder, treatment-resistant depression. I haven't gotten the ADHD, but like all those labels ever did was give me something else to wrap my identity around to justify the way that I feel without ever having the opportunity to find out what was really going on the inside, because I could say, well, I'm just depressed, or I'm just, this, see, the psychiatrist diagnosed me, and see, I'm on these pills and these medications, so therefore that must be the truth, when that is not who I am. It was never who I was, but I identified so much with that. So anyway, I digress. What's the question again? How do I deal with anxiety when I sit down to draw? When I sat down to draw, I felt so much anxiety and pressure to do something that someone's going to like and someone's going to want to buy. And it's like the most crippling thing. And so what I would do, I don't know if anyone else, I'm sure other people do not have this problem, but I would sit down to sketch and I'd be so critical of the sketch and I would hate it and I would hate it. And I realized that just like the writing process where after 15 to 20 minutes, I really started to let go. It was like a part of my brain that needs to control. It would just get tired and it would stop trying to control it needing to be what I thought it should be. Letting go of that expectation. That's what reduced the anxiety. I would literally sit down and be like, I'm going to do a bad drawing. Rather than sitting down and trying to do a good drawing, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do a bad drawing. And I would just sit down and you know what? Sometimes, a lot of time I would do a bad drawing. But then I remember one of the early tattoos that I did, we can probably bring a picture of it. I was doing these animal heads early on when I first started doing like illustrative stuff. And I was drawing this rabbit head and there was a dog head and there was a fox head. And I remember I was like, God, this looks so fucking stupid. I remember thinking that this is, 15 plus years ago. And then I was like, oh, I already hate it. So I can't make it worse. And I just kept fucking with it. I was like, wait, that's kind of cool. And then what if I did it like that? And so it was like hard for me to allow myself to sketch because that inner critic was so heavy. And then I started to realize, I need to hate the drawing for at least 15 minutes. I need to, because the best stuff I've ever drawn, I hated it for at least the first 15 minutes, sometimes longer. And I had to embrace the thing that I didn't want. I didn't want to feel that inner critic because it made me feel anxiety. But in order for me to get the outcome that I wanted, I had to just allow myself to feel the feelings. This is why nervous system work, trauma work, shadow work is so crucial, not only to your art, your career as an artist, to your business, because there's so many feelings that come up, especially around money. Try and fucking tell me that you don't feel some type of way about money. No, you do. And the way you feel about money dictates the way you behave around money. Does it? Does it not? Ask yourself. Oh, that's interesting. So are you saying that if I change the way that I feel about money, if I change the way that I feel about marketing, and in order to change it, the first thing I have to do is actually allow myself to feel and be the way that I am right now? Stop resisting feeling the way that I feel in this moment. And by doing that, I actually have a little bit more room to feel and be some other type of way, of actually explore and feel curious about my feelings about money and marketing and business and art and all these other aspects of life. That's where all of the magic of life exists, is in allowing yourself to feel the feelings that you don't want to feel. And your nervous system gets triggered and it doesn't want to feel it. And so it will literally do anything in its power to escape feeling that, including shoving poison into our body and smoking and drinking and fucking and eating our way into oblivion. Yeah. I mean, look at humanity. Am I wrong? No. Spending, earning, judging. We're all just trying to control the way that we feel. And you have no power over that. All you have power over is whether or not you allow yourself to feel the way that you feel. And rather than resisting it, when you give yourself permission to feel it, what you resist persists. What you can choose and be with will transform. But it's in those beginning stages of it. It's like, oh, I don't want to feel this thing. Oh, get away. Breathe, breath. Oh my God, the most powerful spiritual tool. I'm a big fan of the Michael Singer. I'm just going to go off and rant at this point. I'm a big fan of the Michael Singer podcast. I'm a big fan of all his books. I'm going to shout out to my man, James Kern. If you don't follow this tattoo artist, James Kern, oh my God, his tattoos are fucking amazing. And I was chatting with him the other day and he's like, oh, you're a big fan of Michael Singer. You should check out his podcast. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. But Michael Singer says, religion is not spirituality, and your beliefs are not spirituality. And that doesn't mean there's anything right or wrong with religion. I personally, not the biggest fan, although there are some great things that it teaches, but I don't consider myself to be religious at all whatsoever. But I do consider myself to be deeply spiritual. And he said, what defines spirituality? What is spirituality? Is being aware of your thoughts, and being aware that your thoughts are not you, and doing that over and over and over and over and over again. None of your beliefs are you. Now, you have beliefs. You're a human being. You're going to have beliefs. And so you can be religious and spiritual. You can have beliefs and also be aware that you have beliefs and that your beliefs are not necessarily the truth and they're not necessarily you. Doesn't mean you can't have the beliefs. People are so defensive about their beliefs. It's like, okay, I have beliefs. I wear them like a light shawl on my shoulders. I'm like, yeah, this feels good. I'll wear this for a while. Oh, you know what? Actually, it doesn't feel good anymore. It's kind of limiting me. I think I'm just going to toss it. That's the healthiest way to deal with any belief or truth. And oh my God, tattooers, it's like tattooing is its own cult religion that people think it's supposed to be this way, and anything that isn't that way, I'm going to kill it, I'm going to attack it, I'm going to judge it. And then half the people agree with this and the other half people agree with that. And look, it's like literally any other religious battle that's gone out through is just taking place within tattooing, within its own little sects of, you can't be a scratcher, and you can't teach yourself to tattoo. And yet half of the most amazing tattooers on the planet are pretty much self-taught because there aren't that many apprenticeships. So, okay, I'm going off. I'm going to get back to, what was the question again? Why? What do I do with all this anxiety when I sit down and draw? I don't fucking know. All right, just fucking feel your feelings, allow yourself to feel them, and fucking draw anyway. That's what we should do with any anxiety, is just allow yourself to feel it. I'm telling you. That's the fucking key. All right, big one here. How do I get people to notice my work? So, depends on what year. If I'm talking to my 20-year-old self, right, social media, it was barely existed when I started tattooing. I don't think it existed at all when I started tattooing. And it wasn't maybe like 4 or 5 years into tattooing existed. So I'm going to speak in terms of what would work back then, now, in the age of social media, and forever, for the rest of your career. How do I get people to notice my work? First of all, and this is going to be just a marketing, we'll talk straight marketing and then we'll get increasingly more esoteric. There's a concept in marketing called the watering hole. And you want to go to the watering hole because all the other people are already at the watering hole. You don't have to get them to go to where you are to find you. You want to go to where they are. So let's say back in the day, it was radio. Everyone was listening to radio. So where would you get people to notice and find you? Now, again, tattooing and radio, maybe not. But I know tattoo shops that actually use radio marketing. I've heard of it. I don't know how successful it is. Maybe it's successful because other ones aren't doing it, right? And then you stand out on the radio. But that's when people were heavily listening to radio. That was where you'd go. That was the watering hole. And then it became TV, and that was the watering hole. You could say a tattoo shop on a busy street, right? That was a great watering hole. There's rarely ever just one watering hole, but nowadays, right, it was email and then it was websites and SEO. People were Googling and searching all the fucking time, and they still are, by the way. In fact, the term tattoo artist near me, you can look this up. There's a website called Ask the Public, and you can actually get data on which search terms are searched and in what areas and in what quantities. The term tattoo artist near me is Googled globally. Now you can look up your individual area as well. 2.5 million times per month. 2.5 million times per month someone enters in the term tattoo artist near me. So it would probably be, first of all, simply like making a website and then writing a blog article about and mention the term tattoo artist near me, put it in bold, because things that are in bold in your blog will actually be caught by the Google algorithm more than something that is not in bold. You know, work that into a blog post. You're like, how do I talk about tattoo artists near me? Just fucking figure it out. No one's even going to read the blog post, okay? Just talk about something, mention it 3, 4, 5 times, put it in bold a couple times. Don't overdo it because that doesn't work well. And boom, like people searching that term in your area are more likely to find you. Easy. But the most eyeballs are on social media. So how do we get people to notice us on social media? And obviously, this is what I talk about a lot. So I'm not going to give you the same generic, post more and talk to people. I'm not going to give you that. What I've found from working with over 1,000 tattooers, and we work with maybe like 700 tattooers very closely in our full Artful Marketer program. And I give them assignments and templates, and we do content critiques. In fact, this morning we were doing content critiquing and talking about what works and why it didn't work. What works the best? It's not about what you say. It's about how you say it. And so talking on camera is very difficult for a lot of people. And we can get into the whole nervous system, the way you feel. I might be seen, and if I can't control the people that see me, then someone that I don't want to see me might see me, and then they might judge me, and then therefore to avoid that, I'm just not going to be seen by anyone at all. Does that sound familiar? Well, certainly if you're hiding from being seen and judged by other people, that's the worst way to get your tattoos noticed. But through practicing, allowing your nervous system to feel comfortable with being seen, with being judged, because the truth is people are gonna judge you. People judge me all the time. I make a lot of fucking content. I post a lot of shit on fucking YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, and people leave all, and it's just like, I at this point, I'm like numb to it. I'm like, okay, yeah, you hate me. Okay. So life, the world keeps spinning, bro. Like, we're all gonna fucking die. So like, you're gonna waste your life fucking yelling at me on your fucking keyboard warrior? And I gonna waste my fucking life caring? No. I have to get comfortable with, in my nervous system, being seen, being heard. Because when you get comfortable with it, then you allow yourself to be seen more. So I can give you all the Instagram strategies and tactics and everything like that. And I will just say, shout out, if anyone wants the exact templates and strategies and everything like that, I am doing a workshop on December 1st. You can hit the link in the caption, a little promo for anyone that wants to work with me directly. I might have to kick you in the ass a little bit, but I'm going to show you exactly what to do, exactly what to say, and coach you through getting more followers and booking more tattoos quickly, a lot of the time in under 48 hours. That's why we call it the Booked in 48 workshop. So a little plug for that. Just hit the link if you want to check out more about that. But here's the problem. Here's the problem with that workshop. I will talk to tattooers 2 weeks, 3 weeks, sometimes a month after they've taken the workshop. And I've given them the templates that we already know work and have been proven to work. And I give them the DM scripts and I give them the instructions and I showed them examples. I'm like, here, just make it look just like this. Okay. And one of two things will happen. Either they'll do it, but they'll do it in like the craziest way that looks nothing like the thing that I showed them. I'm like, how did you see that? And then you made the, I don't know what to, you change it. Like, stop, should be, everyone should know this, but like if you make a fucking reel where you're talking on Instagram, this should be basic knowledge. And most people would be like, why are you even saying this, Ryan? Make it the full length of your fucking phone. Like, don't make a square image and then fit it into, like, just record, just be normal. Just fucking talk and be normal to your phone and then post it. I don't know. I'm amazed sometimes at what people do with the templates that I'm giving them. Like, how did you, I literally showed you what to do and then you just made this whole other crazy thing. I'm not trying to hate on anyone. I'm just, sometimes I'm baffled. Okay, I learned. People need it broken up into very simple instructions. But the other thing that happens, and this happens all the fucking time, is I'll talk to them 2, 3, 4 weeks out and they won't do it. I'm like, why didn't it? You saw other people booking tattoos during the workshop. Almost every single, I've done this workshop 6 times now. That's why we have a guarantee, is that if you don't book any tattoos, I'll give you your money back. And then no one asks for their money back. I was like, I'll just offer twice your money back. Hell, I don't fucking care. If you want me to give you $96, you paid 48 because one person, no one asked for it. So maybe next time I'll do a 3x money back guarantee. Well, that'd be fucking insane. They don't do it. And I'm like, why? If you're really honest with yourself, why didn't you do it? And they're like, because I'm worried that someone's going to judge me. And I'll say, well, let's say they do. Let's say you post the thing of you talking the way you would talk to a client or anyone that you'd potentially want to work with or that would potentially want to work with you. And let's say some random asshole on the internet judges you. Does that person pay your bills? No. Then why do you fucking care? And it's like this, and they're like, don't know. It's like this block. It's simple. And you're like, I know what I should. It's like working out, right? I know I should work out. I don't like the extra 30 pounds on my body. I know I should work out. But for some reason, I do it. And then I say, well, I don't have enough time. But is that the truth? Like, is that the fucking honest truth? No one is fucking honest with themselves. No one. This is a problem with humanity. I know I'm getting heated here, but like, people lie to themselves. People sell themselves bullshit all the time, myself included. And I've become really good at catching myself, selling myself my own bullshit. It's never the truth that you don't have enough time to make content, to market yourself, to get out. The truth is you're uncomfortable with the thought of being seen. And so rather than risking putting yourself in a situation where you might be judged, you tell yourself you don't have enough time because you prioritize literally anything else other than the one thing you need to do to make more money that would probably make every other area of your life more important. You're like, yeah, but I had to change the oil. And I'm like, I'm sure you did. But if you're really honest with yourself, did you have 1 hour in the past 4 weeks that you could have fucking recorded and thrown some shit together? I don't care if it's a shitty fucking version. You're going to learn from that and you're going to do it. And so what do I need to do? What is the question? How do I get more people to notice my work? Get comfortable with being seen. Give yourself permission to be judged and be seen. And the more comfortable you are with that, the easier it will be to take all of the actions, whether you have the templates or not, whether you come to the workshop or not. It will be way easier for you to get yourself out there and be seen the more comfortable you are in your nervous system with being seen. All right, question number 6. Is it normal to feel like quitting sometimes? So there were at least 2 or 3 times in my 13 years of tattooing that I felt like I wanted to quit. And it never had anything to do with tattooing itself. It had to do with the people that I found myself surrounded with. And so, yes, I think it is entirely normal. I think if you love something enough, it would be weird if you didn't want to quit at some point, because when you care, when you love something so much, when you're so passionate, in fact, the root of the word passion, the etymological Indo-European root of the word passion means to suffer over or to suffer about, like the passion of the Christ, right? Christ suffered for our sins. And again, I'm not here to get into religion, but there's a lot that you can learn from Christianity. There's a lot of beautiful lessons in there. When we are passionate about something, it is normal to suffer about that thing because you love it so much and you see what it could be and you see what it is, and the gap causes you pain. And you see what you're capable of and you see where you're at and you see what tattooing could be and you see what it is. And it's that deep fucking love about it that hurts so badly that yes, absolutely. In fact, I would say if you're a tattooer worth your salt and you haven't ever wanted to quit because you felt like there was something, you didn't feel like there was something about tattooing that you wished was better, I don't think you love tattooing enough. That's my honest opinion. It's not a judgment on anyone, but like, I think that's pretty normal for anyone that deeply loves the craft and the art and the history and the spirit of tattooing. So what do you do in those moments when you want to quit? Well, one, what do I wish I'd told myself? I think, one, I would tell myself, like, the reason that you want to quit is, one, because you care about it so much. It's so important to you. That's why you feel this way, but it doesn't mean that you should quit. But I totally get where the feeling is coming from. I wished, and I don't even know how I would have done this, but like, I think now it's a lot easier to seek out a community of like-minded tattoo artists, whether that's on the internet or in your local community. Become an organizer. That's what I did. I would say if there's any skill I've learned in my life that has served me and been more lucrative and helped me live a fulfilling and rewarding and rich, exciting life, it has been in my ability to create community. And so that first started for me when I started my studio. And then I took on an apprentice, and then I had another artist that wanted a booth. And so then I got a slightly bigger studio so I could rent more booth space out to other artists. And then I took on another apprentice, and I trained them up. And then the first apprentice rented the booth, and I just slowly grew. And then I had about 1,000 square foot space, and I would have 5 or 6 different tattoo artists renting booths from me. And I created the community that I had always wanted, but I had to take a leadership role in order to do that. And the problem with being in a leadership role, whether that's you own the shop or you're that person in your circle, is that you hold a lot of responsibility. And for any community to function properly, it does need leadership. Now, that could be, I'm not going to get political, and there's democracy and communism, but like, if no one is willing to take responsibility for that leadership role in maintaining the integrity of the community, then everyone will be fucking miserable, including yourself. And that requires a tremendous amount of, I'll say, courage to take on that level of responsibility. In fact, I would say every area of your life that you feel is not where you want it to be, there's something that you're not willing to take responsibility for. And that requires a tremendous amount of honesty to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what am I not willing to take responsibility for here? And so back to the question, is it normal to feel like quitting? I think if you want to create an extraordinary, rich, rewarding, fulfilling life and career as a tattoo artist or anything, if you're really seeking something extraordinary, it's by definition, it is extraordinary. So you can't take ordinary actions. Ordinary is avoiding responsibility, right? That's ordinary. Extraordinary would be looking at and being honest with yourself and saying, okay, what part of this can I take? Because where you place the blame is where you place the power. So if I place the blame on myself and say, okay, what if I am 100% responsible for my circumstances, my life, and the direction that my life goes? And if I'm not happy with something, I need to take responsibility for something that I've been avoiding in order to change that part of my life. And that is what led me to opening up my own studio. Now, I've worked with tattooers that are in their like 3rd year, and they're like, yeah, I own a tattoo shop. I didn't even want to do that, but I literally couldn't fucking work at this other spot. And then this opportunity showed up, and I was just like, I guess I'll fucking take it, even though I didn't want to do that. And I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I'm like, cool, you're jumping in the fucking deep end of leadership and responsibility. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the party. That is what is required. So I don't think it has to do with how long you've been tattooing or how talented you are or any of those things. I know this is not stuff that most tattoo artists will say. But I think you actually have to have a large amount of dissatisfaction with the circumstances around you and a high level of integrity and willingness to take responsibility for those circumstances so that you can be the one to change them, because no one's going to fucking do it for you. No one's going to come in on a fucking winged horse and hand you a silver platter of the life that you fucking want. If you want it, you have to fucking make it. You have to go out there, hunt it, kill it, drag it home, and eat it if you fucking want it. That's what it fucking requires. And no one's willing to take responsibility for their lives and their careers. And that's why not just the tattoo industry, but the world looks the way. Look at the fucking news. No one wants to take responsibility for shit. This is what's broken in the fucking world. And I know I'm getting heated here, and take offense to it if you want. But I say it from a place of love. I want to shake people. I don't want to show them you are capable of creating the life and the career and everything that you want. It's all within you. You're not missing anything. You're not lacking anything. You don't need anything. Now, is it helpful to bounce ideas off of friends or mentors or coaches? Absolutely. I would not be where I am today in my life talking here to this camera alone in a tiny little room. And you're like, oh man, Ryan's really living it up. But I'm a fucking happy person, and I have hard fucking days. I had a hard fucking day yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago. But it's hard because I choose to live an extraordinary life where I play by my own rules. I make the rules. I take responsibility, and I manifest. That's what it is to manifest. I manifest the life that I want. not because I sat on a couch all day and recited mantras, but because I sat on a couch all day and recited mantras and then took fucking extraordinary action. That's why I did it. And for anyone that's doubting manifestation, like, you are already manifesting the life. So if you want to quit, look and see, what are you manifesting that makes you want to quit? And then stop manifesting that shit, but you got to take responsibility for it. So that's what I wish I could have grabbed my younger self and shook myself, and maybe I would have taken different actions. Maybe I would have learned the lesson earlier. But you know what? I learned it when I did. And it was through a lot of this introspective work and being very aware of myself, my circumstances, that showed me, oh, these are the rules that other people have laid out for me to follow, but I don't need to follow those rules. I can do... You're on a fucking rock spinning around a fireball in a fucking vast empty void of nothingness, and you think there's any fucking rules? Who made up the fucking rules? Who is the king of tattooing? Show me. Point. Who wrote the rule book? The king? I want to answer. I want to talk to that person. No, it doesn't exist. And you live like there's some fucking rule that says you can't do this and you have to do this and you got to do it. No, there's no fucking rules. So that's what you should do if you feel like quitting tattooing. All right, number 7. Why do I hate promoting myself so much? Let's explore that one for a second. So we kind of talked about it a little bit. And I think this is something that all artists deal with. And here I will look at it from a different perspective than the one. The one before we were like talking about your nervous system and allow yourself to be seen. But why do I hate it so much? Here's my theory on it. And I'm not claiming to be right about this, but I think this is a helpful perspective to take on it, is that artists are inherently very sensitive creatures. That's what we are. I'm going to say some shit that most tattoo artists and people that are covered in tattoos probably won't say or admit, but I think is probably true for most of us. It's certainly true for me. I'm going to be open and vulnerable here about it. When I was a kid, I was picked on. I wasn't like the nerdiest, most made fun of kid on the playground, but I definitely wasn't the fucking coolest. I've never been cool. I'm not cool now. I've never been. I gave up any hope in trying to be cool or thought of as such. I was picked on. I had asthma. I couldn't run as fast. I remember like peeing myself in fucking Boy Scouts one time, and then the Cub Scout leader had to like get a pair of jeans from one of the other kids that he was the cool kid, and I had to wear the cool kid's pants after I pissed myself. Like, not fucking... I was a sensitive... God, I feel so bad for that little boy that was like just wanted to be accepted and appreciated. And then I saw someone covered in tattoos, and I was like, something about that. I remember where it was. I was at a shop. The first time I saw someone covered in tattoos in real life. Maybe I've seen it on National Geographic, but it was a shop. It was called Tip Top Gift Shop. And it sold ninja supplies and bongs, right? That, you know that store, right? The Ninja Supply and Bong store, of course. And there was a guy, he had huge gauges. I used to have huge gauges. I know you can't tell because I got them sewn up, but I used to have 1.5 inch fucking door knockers, and he was covered in tattoos, and he looked so badass. He looked so cool. And I think I put together, I'm really honest with myself, I realized that if I did that to myself, I was like, well, I will take one of those, please. Yes, I will have that. Because then on the outside, I will look tough. I will look like I don't care, when in reality, I care more than most people about what people think of me. I cared so much about what other people think of me, what other people's opinions of were me. And if I covered myself in tattoos, then people would think I'm tough and I'm a little bit intimidating and I'm scary. And so it was kind of like putting on this armor to protect my soft, squishy interior, my sensitive little artist child baby boy, to protect him from the idea, the concept, not the actuality, but the idea that someone would think I'm weak or not enough or not good enough, and I could wear this armor and I could feel confident and secure, but it never really did the trick. So I think what we have here is a lot of people that are wearing their cool pictures as armor to protect their soft, squishy, sensitive interiors from being perceived as weak or not enough. And that would make a lot of sense, right? Wouldn't it explain a lot about the tattoo industry as a whole if really we just had a lot of people that just really cared way too much about what other people thought of them? And that's why they are so afraid to promote themselves, right? Back to the question, because I go off on these rants. So why do I hate promoting myself so much? Because you don't think that you are worthy of being promoted. And you think that promoting yourself is somehow egotistical or pompous, or, you think too much of yourself. And so in order to avoid, because we have all seen those people too, right? We have that archetype in our mind of like the marketing guy. And you might think of me as that guy, right? You might project that idea onto me when you see my ads or my content or whatever it is, because you don't know me, you don't understand me. And here's the truth, I don't fucking care if you understand me. I gave up trying to be understood by anyone a long fucking time ago. And that is also one of the most freeing things you can do, is when you recognize that no one will understand you. No one should understand you, because if you are being authentic to your true self, the only person that can possibly 100%, my wife understands me 99.9%. But the only person that can truly understand you and get you is you. And so stop expecting anyone else to understand you. And so if you promote yourself and you're worried that someone's going to think that you're being egotistical or full of yourself or whatever it is, and it's cringy and it's weird, you just have to let them think that. No one's going to understand. And if you make art, if you're a tattoo artist or whatever you are, and you want to sell more of that art, and you believe that what you make is good, and I know we're our own inner critic, we talked about that earlier, let that shit go. There ain't no reason why you shouldn't get up on top of a parked car with a fucking megaphone and a fucking torch and scream to the world, hey, I do some cool fucking shit. If you fucking like it, come and get some. You should fucking get out there, get loud, especially in a saturated market where there's so many people and so many voices. There's so much content and everyone's competing for their fucking microseconds of fucking fame. And it's like, stop fucking caring if anyone else thinks that they think that you're full of yourself. Stop. Just fucking let it fucking rip. Get loud. It is time to get loud. If you are not booking tattoos and you're on Instagram or social media and you want to get more clients, it's time to get fucking loud. I want to fucking shake you and just get you, just like, stop giving a fuck. Be weird, be loud. Tattooers are fucking weird. We fucking slam needles into our skin for fucking decades to try to protect our soft, squishy interior, and you don't think that you don't have something cool and weird and authentic to share with the world? No, you're fucking wrong. You absolutely do. But you got to create, and you got to do it again. You got to keep stepping outside of that comfort zone and let people think whatever they're going to think, and then you will not hate promoting yourself so much, because it won't be about climbing some social status ladder. It will surely purely be an act of creation, of creativity, of art. That's what this is. That's what I'm doing here alone in this tiny little room in front of this fucking camera. I'm just being my fucking weird ass self. I don't care if you like it or you approve of it or you want to fucking keyboard warrior me in the comments. I don't fucking care. So that's how you stop hating, promote yourself, is allow yourself to be judged and let other people think, and stop feeling like you have to take responsibility for what other people think, what other people's opinions are of you. Will I ever feel financially secure? Nope. Next. No. Okay. Let's talk about this one for a second. So I have a lesson. I teach a lot about money mindset because, again, your feelings around money are pretty much the sole dictators of your actions around money. So people are like, well, if you just follow a budget, right? You just spend less than you make, and then you're going to have more than you do or did or whatever, right? Simple. Just lift up a heavy object and put it down and do that in rapid succession and stop shoving donuts in your face and you won't gain weight. What's hard about that, right? Your actions are dictated by your feelings, the way you feel. So will I ever feel financially secure? You will not feel financially secure as a result of the number in your bank account or the fat stack of cash sitting on your bed. I have spoken with people that make multiple millions of dollars. I've had personal conversations with them, real intimate coaching conversations with some of them, and they feel more insecure, more financially insecure than they did when they were making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. Isn't that fucking fascinating? And someone that is living, on near poverty levels that's listening to this might think, no, there's no fucking way. But here's the deal. Your relationship with money is what it is. More money will only pour gasoline on whatever the fire that is already burning there. So if you feel financially insecure where you're at right now, more money will not equate in feeling financially secure. You will have moments of it. And I can recall a couple fleeting moments in my life where I was like, I'm financially free. And they were gone within fucking minutes, probably, or maybe an hour, or maybe a day at most. And it has been my journey. I'm fascinated. Why do I do financial coaching? Simply because, one, I'm on my own fucking journey. I haven't mastered shit. I'm exploring. I'm a student. I'm learning. I'm not some fucking guru. I'm on my own exploration, my own playful, creative, fascinating. Isn't that, this is when my wife says a lot, she says, isn't that fucking fascinating? Especially when we have like breakdowns or both triggered and we're angry and yelling at each other about something. That doesn't happen very often. Once in a while we get a little loud, but like, isn't that fascinating? I feel triggered by money. Here's the real deal that most people will not fucking tell you about money. And most people maybe know a little bit in their hearts, but they're blinded by their own bullshit and they'll never fucking say out loud. When we resist, right? When you resist persists. When we resist and judge other people that have more money. I put a post on Threads the other day. I said, if you're struggling to book tattoos and you're not running meta ads, why not? I was just curious. I was like genuinely curious. Like, what is it that has you not want to pay money to make more money, right? I trade $1 for $8 on average when I run ads. And so if I can trade $1 for $8, I will fucking make that trade all day long, every day. I will trade as many dollars as I can for $8, right? It's like a good fucking deal as far as I'm concerned. And what people said was, I don't want to give my money to that billionaire fucking Mark Zuckerberg. Well, first of all, Zuckerberg doesn't fucking care about your $100 a month or $300 or $500 or even $10,000 a month. He makes more than that in 1 fucking second. So he doesn't fucking care about the hundreds of thousands of dollars that you, and honestly, I don't think tattooers need to spend more than a couple $100 a month to see a couple $1,000 in return. I've seen it many, many, many times over and over. But if we judge people that have money, then we will subconsciously take actions or avoid taking actions that would have us be perceived as that person that we are judging. And so therefore you will always be resisting financial security, because in order to feel financially secure at all, you must have more than you need. You must have more money than you need in order to feel financially secure. But when you associate having more than you need with the people that you hate and that you judge, then you will subconsciously self-sabotage in order to avoid ever having more than you need, and you will stay stuck in a state of survival for the rest of your life, no matter how much money you make, and you will keep chasing making more money, thinking that if only I could make more money, that will somehow change a thing, when a lot of tattoo artists used to make more money and they didn't necessarily feel more financially secure than they do now. In fact, most tattoo artists have lived in a state of pure survival, living tattoo to tattoo. This is the fucking truth. And I'm not saying this as a judgment. I'm calling this the fuck out because no one's fucking talking about it. Most tattoo artists have lived and are living in a state of total survival, not because of the amount of money that they make, but because that inner association with having more than I need, they associate with something that they don't like or don't trust or don't want. And so then they avoid ever putting themselves in the position where they could possibly have more than they need. So they spend and I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from personal experience. I was this artist. I spent money that I shouldn't have been spending. And I kept thinking that if I just made more money, then I would feel happy. And so feeling financially secure never comes from outside. It only comes from inside. And again, I trick people into getting life coaching when I tell them I'm going to give them financial coaching. Yes, we get systems and all this stuff in place to help you save and invest and manage money and taxes so that you don't have to worry about it. And at the end of the day, when we're done working together, you always have more money than you did when you started. But what I'm really teaching is self-love. Developing a healthy relationship with money comes down to practicing enough love for yourself that you grant yourself permission to have more than you need. Just sit on that. Feeling financially secure is purely a function, not a function of what's in your bank account or how much money you earn. It is purely a function of loving yourself enough to allow yourself permission to have more than you need to just survive. And deepening that love. And the more you deepen that love for yourself, the more you will take actions that are aligned with the ultimate goal of feeling financially secure. I make more money now than I ever made in my entire life. And as I say that, you might judge me for that, right? That's fascinating. Or Ryan's doing okay. I still feel financially insecure at times. And I have come to train myself to realize I can't seek the peace or the fulfillment or the satisfaction or the stability, the safety, the love outside. It will never come from outside of me. It has only come from my internal journey, my journaling, my meditation, my prayer, my mantras, and practicing feeling secure around money inside first. And that is, when I do that, I feel financially secure under any circumstances, under any economic conditions. And that's a lesson that many people listening to this podcast probably aren't even ready to fully hear yet, but I hope that that seed is planted and that that seed continues to grow over time so that it echoes within your consciousness until you're fully ready to hear it. I don't even know if I'm fully ready to hear it, but sometimes that's the way we learn these lessons, right? We will conceptually know them, but it might take years or even decades before we fully embody and internalize the lesson. We get it. Getting it is different from knowing it. So that's financial security. And last but not least, what should I really focus on? First of all, your consciousness, your creativity, your money, your love, all of it is energy, right? This is science too. This is not spirituality or anything woo. Everything is energy. And energy can only be transferred, or it can never be destroyed, and it can never be created. And so where and how you focus your energy will dictate the circumstances and the direction of your life. And you will keep pointing outwards and blaming this or that and see if only, it's all noise. It's all noise. So I do my best to quiet all that noise. And I have continued to focus inside. And when it comes to what do I focus on outside, I focus on what excites me, not what feels good. I focus internally, what's going on in my internal, there's a whole world going on. And so few people ever practice focusing on what's going on inside that internal world. Most of us are a total fucking mess inside. And we're just trying to marionette ourselves in the morning throughout the day to try to look what we've got to know. Just admit, like, I'm a total fucking mess. Sometimes I have to admit that there's still weeks and months where I feel like a total fucking mess inside. And what I do is I acknowledge it. I admit it. I talk to my wife or friends or people that I really trust. I have a very small circle of deeply trusted people that I know from, spirituality, my ayahuasca community, other tattooers, and people that I've worked with that I have grown to trust. But I can count them fewer than 5 people that I really trust to share that with when I feel like a total mess. And then I focus outside, not on what feels good, but on what excites me. And very often when pursuing the things that excite me, so this is actually something you could look up, this guy Bashar, if you want to Google that, YouTube. He's an alien that is channeled through a man named Daryl Anka. You don't have to believe it's true or not. It doesn't fucking matter. But one of his core principles, his rules, his instructions for living a wildly fulfilling and rich life is follow what excites you. Now, following what excites you very rarely leads to what feels good. Sometimes it does. And then you would be mistaken to believe or convince yourself that if I'm following what excites me, then it will feel good. It's not going to feel good. If you're truly following what excites you, right? Going on an adventure and like risking something, taking a risk, stepping into the unknown, attempting to live an extraordinary life is not going to, think of any great adventure, someone who climbed the Mount Everest for the first time. He was excited by that. Did it feel good? Fuck no, it didn't feel fucking good. But trying to follow what feels good all the time and avoid what feels bad, if you're following what truly excites you, it's going to feel bad. Let it. Just let it feel bad. Follow what excites you. Focus on it. Give it all of your attention, your love, your energy, and anything you can do, you have to say no. You have to say no to many, many things on the path to greatness, to success, to fulfillment. It will have more to do with the things that you say no to than the things you say yes to, because that allows you to focus your attention, your love, your energy on the goal, on the thing that you're seeking, the feeling that you're looking for. And now, there are a lot of times in life where we can't say no because there's a circumstance that happens that's out of your control. And in those instances, we practice acceptance. We accept. Oh, it looks like this. My dad has a saying, it's written on my notebook here. This is what life looks like when it's working perfectly. This is one of my journals. And so that's a mantra that I use when my internal dialogue is telling me, I don't think it should look like this. I repeat that mantra, this, as a declaration, not as a, this is what life looks like. No, as not a question, a declaration. This is right now what life looks like when it's working perfectly. I declare it so that I don't get lost in the noise of it should be, would be, could be, this feels good, this feels bad. I'm not dictated by my emotions. I'm driven by, I'm pulled by. I'm not even driving, I'm not even pushing. I'm pulled by what excites me, and it doesn't always feel good, but that's what allows me to be present and effective during the times in the path where it doesn't fucking feel good. And a quote from one of my favorite mentors, and we'll call them gurus if you want, Alex Hormozy, the work works on you more than you work on it. And developing the ability to be focused, to say no to things that I can say no to, right? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, say no to the things I can say no to, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's all we can really, truly ask for from this life. Because you're going to die, and I'm going to die. 6 months after we die, most people will have moved on with their lives and they'll be focusing on some stupid shit. And none of the shit that you're taking way too fucking seriously right now in your life is going to fucking matter anyway. There are no fucking rules. Follow what excites you. Fuck everyone else's opinion. And that's what I wished I could have sat down and told myself in my early 20s when I started tattooing. I hope that this conversation has been fruitful and helpful. And I wish you all a wonderful, blessed, and abundant day. See you next time. Take care. All right, if you found this episode helpful, one of the best ways for you to help other artists is to share this episode. Leave a review and subscribe. It helps other people find my channel, and you never know what a difference it might make for someone else. Plus, I will forever be grateful for your support, so I just want to say thank you and have a great rest of your day.